Hi guys, and welcome to an Unreal Engine tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to make interactable objects that when you approach they will say press E to interact, and then you can interact with them by destroying the actor. I'll also be talking about how you can do more with this, how you can get the player ref involved with the object, so if you wanted it to affect the player in any way once picked up, that you can do. This will be a pretty short video and I hope you enjoy. So I've loaded up a third-person template with the starter content. So basic start where you'll start off with when you load up Unreal Engine. The first thing I'm going to make is a folder, and I'm going to call it tutorial for the sake of this, so I can put all of my stuff inside a tutorial. I'll organize it with folders once I'm in there. But something I will need is I am going to need the characters. So they won't be in there, they'll be in third person blueprints, and I found the character. So I can find my tutorial folder here on the side, and I can drag and drop the player character into tutorial. That way I can find it more easily and edit it when we need to. So the first thing we're going to make is the item that needs to be interacted with. So simply we're going to make a blueprint class, we're going to make an actor, and we're just going to call it interactable object underscore BP for blueprint. I'm just going to make this and open that up. Let it load up. Then we're going to add a component. We're going to add a static mesh. So this is what the object's going to be. So depending on what objects you want, you can pick here through the models that you've uploaded onto Unreal Engine. For now, we're just going to go with a cube. So we've got our cube in. The next thing we're going to want is a box collision. You can use any collision for this. This won't affect the player in any way. This has been set. This is 0, 0. Okay. The reach just a bit weird. So we're going to move it into the middle, roughly. It doesn't have to be exact. And we're going to click R or up here to scale. We're just going to scale it on all the axes a bit. And we're just going to grab here to do the X and Y a bit more. So we've got a little kind of like area around the interactable object. And that's what we're going to do in here for now. We're going to leave it up here so we can come back to the object later. Now the next thing that we want to make is a blueprint interface. Oh, I think there's a better way of doing this. If we come down here to blueprint, we can make a blueprint interface here. The third one down. And we're going to call it Interactable. Now, an interface is almost like a blueprint component where you can attach it onto the actor and they will get the events from this interface. So we're going to call this interface, we're going to call the function interact. And we're going to put a output. This part is optional, you don't have to put an output for this, but oh no, not an output, an input for this. And we're going to call it player ref. We're going to go EP underscore third person underscore third person character. Now, it will be whatever you've called your player blueprint, but this means when we interact with them through the waycast that we're going to do later, we can input a self-reference when we interact. So that way, if the item that you pick up needs to interact with the player in any sort of way, we don't have to cast to the player, we can just pull it from the interact. So we're going to go to class settings in the interactable objects, and on here we find interfaces, add, we type in interactable. Now we have the interactable interface on here. So if I just pull my content browser down, I could probably get rid of the compiler results. Here, just in the functions, we have the interfaces, and now we made the interact function over here. So now it's appeared here, and we can pull it in. So when this triggers, we're gonna set this as player ref. This is completely optional. If you're going to use the player ref at all after the interact, it's good to set it, and then later on when you need to use it, you can drag it, you can get, and you can use it in whatever way you want. But for now, we're not going to be using the player ref, so we're just going to set it here to show you that you can use it later. But on the interact, we're simply just going to destroy the actor. And to make, we'll see it destroy, so we don't need to put a print string here. But it's good when you're testing things to put print strings throughout your code. Now we're going to go back out, and we're going to go into the player. So here is the basic starter code that you're going to get when you make a project in Unreal Engine. So you're going to get your jump, you're going to get your movement, your camera, and your input mappings. Now we're gonna go over here, and we're just gonna type in keyboard. Let's do E. Now we're gonna go find E. So when the keyboard presses E, this function will trigger. This event will trigger. Sorry, but we're immediately gonna make a function. We're gonna call this raycast. We're going to events, and when triggered, we're going to run raycast. So whenever the player clicks E, we're going to run the function known as raycast, which is here, that we're going to create now. So the first thing we're going to do in this function is we're going to raycast, line trace. We're going to line trace by channel, just here at the top. We're going to break out the on hit, and then on the hit actor, we're going to call as a message. Plug it in, and then we're going to get reference to self, and plug that in here. Okay. So when we hit something, it's going to trigger interact, it's going to message interact. This will only work if the hit actor has the interactable interface on class settings. Otherwise, this will not trigger because it can't trigger a message to something that doesn't have the interact interface. And it will give it the reference to the south, so if we need to use this at any point, we now have the reference to our south. Now, the line trace won't work at the moment because it has no start or end position. It's only going to affect it if it's on 0, 0. So we need to make the line trace come from the camera. So we want it to come from the middle of their screen. So we're going to get the camera, and we're going to get actor, get component location. Just get location. We want the world location, so we want to see where they are in the world. Okay, and to work out the end location of the line trace, what we're going to do is we're going to get the world location, and then from this we can get the forward vector, so the direction in which the camera is facing. We're going to multiply. If you right click on this bottom one and turn it to a float single precision, that would just add it to a single number that will times the forward vector. I'm going to move this back a bit. We're going to add. I'm going to make sure this is the bottom one. That's the top. Plug that in there. I'm going to put this back to a single precision float. And we're going to do, let's do 2000 for now. And let's go to the draw debug on the line trace by channel and do persistent. Okay. Now let's place our interactable object in the world. Let's put it over there. And let's test to make sure everything's working. Okay, so we're in the level. Just gonna start for a minute, and then we're gonna go back. So in the normal level, when we click E, it's coming from our screen to where we're facing. It's a bit lower down than I thought it was gonna be. That is fine. We can, and as you see, we interact with it, we hit it. So that's why this has gone green, and it was destroyed because we put the destroy actor as the event that was going to happen. Now 2000, as you can see, is quite long. We can reach quite far, so we might be able to try half the distance. Let's try 1000. Oh, that's 10,000. Okay, let's try this. Let's see how far this goes. So it's just going just a bit in front of the player, which is okay for now. You can mess around with it to see how long you want the line trace to work. You've got to take into consideration how far away the camera is from the player. So obviously when we go right up to the camera, it goes a lot further. But when we're back like this, half of it is going to go from the camera to the player and then continue forward. So you want to mess around with it a bit and try to find out how you want your line traces to work. So now we've got that, we can remove the debug because we know the line traces, what they look like, where they're working from, and it gets destroyed. Now the second part is we want to know, the player needs to know that this is an interactive object, because looking at it, it looks like the other objects in the room, or maybe it's not obvious what's able to be picked up and what's not if you have loads of items on the table and only one of them can be picked up. The player needs to know. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to simply make a user interface widget blueprint, and we're going to call this interact hover text. Okay, we're going to open this up. We're going to add a canvas panel. We're going to add text. We're going to put the text, we're going to anchor it in the middle. We're going to change the alignment to 0.5 and 0.5. And we're going to reset all of these to default. We're going to size the container so it fills. And here we are, it's perfectly in the middle of the screen. And we can change this to be press key to interact. Like so. Right in the middle of our screen. We're going to save and compile that, and that's all we need to do for the hover text. You can bind this and create a variable within the user interface, so we could call this hover text. We'll give it a text. And now you can bind this to the hover text, and you can edit the hover text depending on what item you're looking at. Now we're going to go back to interact object, and we're going to go back to the viewport. We're going to add a widget here, and we're going to find the widget. Okay, so I may have forgotten how to find the widget, and after looking around for a bit, I realized there's a lovely thing here that says widget class, and in here we can just select interact hover text. Now we have the interact here, we can move it to where we like, so we want it just above the cube. Let's try to get it a bit center. And now if you want to change the size of the text, you can come up here. We can just play around with the sizes here. Let's make it quite large. And when you're happy with it, it's in the position you want. We're going to have to deal with the problem of if the player's on the wrong side, they're not going to be able to see the text. So the way we fix that is by changing it from world to screen. Now it will make the text disappear. But if we go into the level, you'll see here, press E to interact, just above the cube, and it will rotate to face us whatever way we are, and then we can click E to destroy it. Now we don't want the press E to interact at all times. We want it to only appear when the player is close to the object. Now that is why we placed the collision box here earlier. So we're going to get the collision box. I'm going to scroll all the way down, and we'll find all the events that can be triggered from this collision box. So we want begin overlap, and we want to go back on, and we want end overlap. Okay. We also are going to just click on the widget here. I'm going to type in visibility, visible, and turn visible off. So that means when we start the game, the text won't be visible to the player. Now on overlap, we're going to get widget, set visibility to true. Just going to plug that in. We're going to didn't mean to drag that. I'm going to copy and paste this down here. I'm going to turn the visibility off. There we go. So this means when the player goes into the collision box, it will make the widget appear saying press E to interact. And when they leave the collision box, it will hide the text again, so the player can't see it at all times. Now, one issue you may find is if you have AI or other characters that move around within your level, if they begin overlapping this box, then it will make the text appear. So there is one way of fixing that, and that's to get a branch set to true. We're going to get the other actor, the actor that's overlapping now. We're going to get an equals. I'm going to plug this in. I'm going to get layer. I'm going to plug that in there, like so. And we're going to copy paste all of this and do the same here. There we go. So it's going to check once the overlap that it is the player overlapping it and set the visible to true, and when the player leaves that overlap, it will set it to false. So let's just give this one last test. Oh, I clicked a bit early, but as you saw, it did pop up for a second. Press E to interact when we're near it, and as we leave, it goes away. And then we can click E to pick it up. There you go. That is how you set up interactions with text that hovers over the items, showing when you can interact with them. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.